What's up, Ypsilanti? It's your boy Darius. I'm back. I'm here actually for the first time with What's Up Ypsilanti. You may know me from What's Up Detroit, but we're here in Ypsilanti, Depot Town, and I'm so excited about our first episode and our guests here tonight. Mobile Studio.
Yes,
My
sir.
man's them. Michael, hello, sir.
How's it going?
How are you?
Good to see you.
And Oren.
Yes, sir.
All right. How you doing?
Excellent. Super happy to be here.
Good.
Looks great, man.
That's what's up, man. I'm so excited about the work that you guys are doing. So let's start. Even before we get into the mission and what you do, you feel the gap. You're filling a gap. You're filling a need. So take us back before the nonprofit started,
Right.
and what was the gap that you saw?
Well, probably, okay, so when I met up with this guy right here, right, I was young. I was in school.
Okay.
I was going down to the Neutral Zone, which is the teen center downtown.
Shout out to
Ann
Neutral
Arbor.
Zone,
Shout
which
out
is
Neutral
still
Zone.
going, right?
Yes, sir. Shout out Lori Roddy. Shout
Nice.
out Buff.
Buff,
you know?
Buff. He was here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the man. He taught me, to express myself through music, right?
That's amazing.
And
man.
the MC workshop down there was legendary
Yes,
cast.
yes,
Can't
okay.
get there. I could go on and
So
on.
you're an Ann Arbor cat.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely,
Good.
absolutely. And the nonprofit, model that the Neutral Zone does down there is amazing.
Yes.
It's inspirational.
Yes.
And they put the youth in position to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I was down there and obviously found my passion for music. Right?
Nice.
And then when I, graduated from high school and I went to Michigan State, go green.
Yeah, go
I
green.
know.
And
I know.
blue.
I know.
Go
Yeah,
blue.
yeah. My brother went to Michigan. Everybody,
Okay, yeah.
we got love as long as you're not from Ohio.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
kidding. No,
That's
no,
when we
no.
team
That's
up.
when
right?
we team up. Yeah. But no, and I sort of graduated, and I didn't quite have an idea of what I wanted to do, except that I knew I wanted to do work like the Neutral Zone
Nice,
did, right?
nice. So they provided that model for
Yeah, and then so Lori Roddy, who's the executive director now, and John Weiss, the former, was formerly the director and still on, with the organization.
Yes.
They gave me an idea for a model,
Okay.
which became Mobile Studio, and the idea was to have a space out. I live in Denver, Colorado.
Okay.
That's where
It's
I
cold
stay.
up there.
It can be. It can be.
Worse than Michigan?
Nah, it gets colder in the winter here.
Okay,
I
okay.
bet.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
for sure. At least in
Interesting.
Denver, it's a little warmer. People think, but it's a fantastic area. But when I was out there was a gap.
Okay.
Right, there was a
Yeah.
gap
Yeah.
where the most talented young artists were in communities that were completely underserved.
Okay.
And pushed to outside areas. Shout out Aurora.
Okay.
Green Valley Ranch is really where I was when I went out there, and there was this lack of access for the young people out there to get to the studio,
Nice.
to make music.
Yes.
Even if they could get to the studio, they couldn't afford it.
Right.
Even
right.
if they were at the studio is not designed to teach them,
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
to embrace them. And so what we said is, and this was what the Neutral Zone helped pitch. They said, instead of having a designated site which can't move to the communities
Yes,
you need to
which
get
is
to,
a huge thing.
absolutely. Why not be that access
Yes.
and provide a vehicle that could bring the studio
I love that. I
to
love
the
that.
schools that lacked a music program.
What type of vehicle are we talking about?
Well, what it was essentially, what it is currently, although we'll get to it later, how it's
Yeah.
expanded.
Yeah.
But it was this van that carried the entire mobile equipment. We had an ISO booth, a portable
Okay.
ISO booth, we had all
Nice.
this stuff, and we had a lot of amazing equipment that,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
donated. So shout out, we'll talk about that later. But we would bring it into the schools or community centers, libraries. We could set up outside. COVID didn't stop us.
Nice,
what I mean?
nice. Yeah,
We-
that's a good thing. That was a test.
That was a test.
Yeah.
That was a test. It
Yeah.
really was. And we passed flying colors.
Yes.
And
Nice.
and to provide that music access, that's where the gap was.
Okay,
And that's what
okay.
we were trying to fill. And now I think we're hitting our stride and succeeding in that mission.
I love
So-
hearing that.
And
So,
I just want to touch
yeah,
base real
yeah.
quick on some of that. So I kind of grew up in a rural area, just right outside of Ann Arbor, and I didn't have access like Oren did to the Neutral Zone or to even the support of expressing yourself or a studio or making music. You know, I
Yes.
grew up where if you weren't a football player or a jock and stuff, then you weren't that cool. Like if you wanted to make music, there was no access. And
Right.
I think that was a huge thing with Oren and I really, when he graduated college, really brainstorming and being like, yo, I came to Ann Arbor, around my senior year of high school and kind of grew up, seeing these guys make music and having that access. And I was like, what if we could take this and educate people about the music industry and really teach them that you can be a manager, you can be a sound engineer.
Yes.
There's so many more jobs, and you don't have to be the rapper with the chain or the rock star or the main singer.
It's a big industry.
Yeah, it's a big industry,
100%.
and I think that's something that our mobile studio nonprofit brings to the table in our curriculum, is teaching these kids that there's so much more to music than just being the main focus, and you can make a living doing what you love. If it's 60 to 100 grand a year that you're gonna make being a nurse or something else in that nature, you can do that in a career making
that
music.
You love.
You love.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think that's something that we're really bringing to the schools.
To a point that you were talking about, and talking with you outside of this, tell us about the passion of helping people achieve their dreams.
Yes.
Because that's something that within this, but where does that come from?
I think just when we were kids, really. I think we've always been goal-oriented people, but also dreamers. So wanted to do outside of the box stuff for sure.
Yeah, MC really gave me an opportunity, sort of like the Neutral Zone did too, where I was able to get actual experience gigging, playing shows, being in the industry, writing music, recording. This amazing space. Just stuff that at the time builds a professional sort of backbone that you really have to be introduced to that world. And if I hadn't been by MC Neutral Zone, then sort of like what we're providing for the youth.
And what's so great about that too is that people don't realize that me having a music background and that's why I do what I do today, why I'm so comfortable in front of a camera or speaking or what have you, because I've done stages where there's thousands of people. So talking like this is nothing, but that's another a tool that people maybe inadvertently learn from what you're doing.
I agree with that.
Sure,
I agree with that 100%. I mean,
it's nothing like experience.
That's right.
Absolutely. I think that's huge. And we actually do a concert once a year for all the kids that are in our program and give them the opportunity to perform on stage for the first time. And it's in Denver.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for the kids to get that experience and to understand what it is and what it takes to put yourself out there. And that experience is huge, and we bring that every year.
Crucial.
Nice. Now, you said initially you started off with the van. What are you guys rocking with now?
Well, it's kind of exciting. I was going to talk about future projects. Let's talk about it now. So the Denver, school district donated us a school bus, a working school bus.
Oh, nice. Plenty of space.
Yeah. And not to mince words, but we're going to got the seats. And we're going to install. We also got donated like 18 to 20 iMacs.
Right? Okay.
So
sweet.
Build out a computer lab section of the studio with the beat pads connected. We use Logic, but there's lots of good ones. That just works well for Apple.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we're gonna build out at the back of the van, the ISO booth.
Nice.
And, it's gonna actually be the dream studio.
Yes,
you roll it
sure.
anywhere. You know what I mean?
Almost like Magic Bus back in the day. That's before your time.
Yeah.
You might remember that. Nice. And so, when is the project going to be done?
Well, it's going to be getting done over the next year. Really,
Nice.
We have a space,
That's so
and we're going to be working on it. It's going to be an entire campaign we roll out.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, right now, we're just focused on expanding the program as far as it can go. We want to go nationwide. You know what I mean?
And what areas are you in right now?
So right now we're in Metro Denver, and we are looking to get up into Fort Collins and Colorado Springs, which are above North and South, respectively, of the city. But then long term, we want to be in every major city.
Nice.
So
back over here. Back at home.
This is, I'm back here running camps right now for the music, but I want to be able to be here. There's a tremendously talented community of youth in Southeast Michigan,
100%.
across all Michigan. So that would be the next location.
Okay.
Yeah, I think our SOP can integrate into any community, any school all around America.
Yes.
I think what we are bringing and seeing the the attendance
Yeah.
percentage way up for when we're there, seeing the graduation rate, because if people
That's
are going
one
to
of the most
graduation,
satisfying things.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
some of the principals at the schools that we're working at, they'll say, like, you can't attend the mobile studio if your attendance isn't in school or if you're not on track to graduate.
Yeah.
And that's making these kids work really hard because they want access to make their own CDs. They want access.
Right.
And in a world where expressing yourself online is huge, giving these kids access to make their music is making them come to school. I mean, that's the most successful
huge.
thing for the mobile studio and what we've seen. The most gratifying.
I would say so.
Yep.
Yeah, not just, seeing them succeed and graduate, but then, they can go on to get work in the industry.
Yeah. And you're
Intern for
sparking
us, they can,
you're sparking a light in them that their passion matters.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely.
You don't have to sacrifice, what you want to do. You can do what you want to do,
so
and the
true.
money will come.
Yeah, the passion matters and their voice matters.
Yeah.
And so having the platform to do
Yes.
that and tell their stories and what's going on in their community, super important.
Yeah.
And the schools that we primarily serve in our mission are what's called pathway schools.
Okay.
In
Yep, I know what
Denver,
you're talking about.
and that would be the youth that have been kicked out of other schools,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They need more support.
Yeah.
A better situation. But a lot of these schools do amazing work, but still lack, like a music program.
Right.
That's where we come in.
Right.
And then part of it too is that to get them to that point where they can see that same vision where it's like you can be a music, you can do music
100%,
for life.
yes.
That can
and see the other
there's different
aspects
ways.
of
Yeah.
music.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so dope.
100%.
That is so dope. What's the target age group?
So it's high school, but we also, we do middle school.
Okay.
And we, I'm working right now in camps that's ages 8 to 11 and then,
Nice.
12 to 14. But yeah, primarily the mission is if you have a school, community, library, teen center that you would like us to pull up at, a reservation even, we've done that, we will go and provide that, service. And, that's what it's all about. Really.
Yes, for
That's
sure.
where the love is, for sure.
sure.
No.
That's what's up. Where would you like to see this go?
In every school, like I said, just growing up in a school district where I didn't have that opportunity, I think that's something that we can bring to every school district.
Nice. Yes.
I think that's the goal, is to have a nonprofit working with a lot of these schools that don't have music programs anymore. I mean, you and I saw them being ripped out of schools growing up,
100%,
and we are filling that void, and I think that can be everywhere. I think our SOP and our curriculum is huge for a school.
Yes.
Yep.
What's the tagline?
Yeah, music on a mission.
Music on a mission.
Music on a mission.
What is the mission? Like the specific.
In my mind, the mission is that every young person, regardless of where you're from, regardless of your economic background, whatever, what have you, should have access to be able to make music.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
In your community, you shouldn't have to go somewhere else and ride 2 buses.
Right.
And do
Right.
all this
Yeah.
stuff.
And I'm not talking
No, we'll
about
bring
like,
it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not
Yes.
talking about like making music like a lot of people, grow up in churches. Like
Yeah.
that's a huge place where you make music
Right,
at.
right.
I mean, that's true and tried. A lot of singers come from a church, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so and that's the first time they sing. And I think us, working with middle schoolers and bringing a studio, they get to record, they get to hear themselves. They get to understand, what it is to engineer a little bit.
Often for the first time, they haven't even heard themselves on the mic. They're like,
Yes.
"That's me, Mister." It's like,
Yes.
"Yeah, that's you."
Nice.
That's you.
And then hearing a song mixed and getting to replay it for your friends, for your family, is a true.
That's a blessing.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, again, knowing music, there's so many lessons in that. I mean, even to edit, it takes hours.
Man.
That's patience. That's
Yep.
the consistency. Like all those life skills is amazing. So what year did you guys start?
So I would say, we submitted. So we're a 501c3 nonprofit.
Yeah.
Took a little bit to get going. Again, shout out to Neutral Zone for helping give us
Yes.
the structure we needed. And but we submitted to the IRS. I want to say 2018.
Okay.
Got approved 2020, something like that.
Okay.
So we've been going strong 5 years now.
Nice.
5
Congratulations.
years now. Yeah, absolutely.
And most nonprofits don't even. I mean, if you pass 2 years.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
true? Yeah.
Exactly.
It feels weird to say out loud.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Have you noticed a big difference? So you guys, like you said, you were operating, really kicking off during COVID.
That is true.
Have you noticed a difference from the kids being remote versus now they're back in school? Like, how's that been?
It's been great, and the the cool thing was too when other programs couldn't offer, in-person services, we could set up outdoors.
Nice.
We could do our studio outside.
Yes.
And we did that. We
Okay.
did that for
Excellent.
a couple
Excellent.
summers. So it didn't really impede us.
Yeah.
But having, the students in person, right in front of you, be able to work with them, connect with them, build that trust. Because I think number one, too, is when you're going back week after week to the same school, and we do once a week at like many schools, right?
Okay.
So, every day we'll be somewhere else. And to build that trust, that communication, provide a space that feels safe, that feels welcoming, because it is.
Right.
But because they're not going to believe that or trust that unless it's tangible and real.
And real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also during a time where those kids weren't able to connect with people because of COVID and where the world was. And I think OD definitely, Josie, like that's...
Yeah. Shout out Josie Palese.
Yeah.
Been in the camp for years and years and years.
Nice. That's what's
but
does not lack talent for sure.
Okay.
But she's like just somebody, that was during the heart of the COVID years that definitely appreciated the camp and what we were doing. And she's right here in Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where can people participate or donate or
check out our website. Our website is the place to go, right?
Okay, cool.
You can go if you want to make a contribution, support the cause.
Yes.
You can go right there and do it. And tax deductible, obviously.
but that's a good thing.
That's
too.
a good thing too.
You're helping and you're helping yourself.
Yeah.
We survive off the donations. That's
do.
definitely how we're able to provide and be able to give back to the communities.
Yeah.
And we
that
appreciate all donations.
100%.
And that is the beauty of it too. It really goes right to the students and the campers, directly. There's not a lot of red tape there.
Nice. That's so sweet. Can we see what the van currently looks like on there? Or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we
Cool.
got videos. We do a rolling rack unit that rolls into schools, and then you disassemble it. It's like it's the Voltron.
Okay.
Yeah,
Little
you get
transform.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you get on the website, there's a video that links you right to YouTube. That's like a hype video. It shows a lot of the kids working. It actually is really cool because it shows some of the kids that were in our program's years that have graduated and they come back and volunteer.
Some are interning. Yeah,
some are interning.
So that's when you know you got a good product.
Yeah.
They leave and then they come back to help keep it going.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point, man.
Yeah.
And I can touch on one thing. I went out I flew out last year for the concert.
Okay.
And I met a family that was part of the program. He was a senior. He was graduating. He's one of the kids that came back for sure.
I want to say Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden.
He was interning.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, but talking to his mom and dad, we're like, we used to hear him in his room just making random sounds. We didn't really know. And then the mobile studio comes and he gets to record songs. And then he's like, she's like, I haven't been like connected with my son since probably 12 years old.
Nice.
And it was really just cool to see that connection as they showed up as a whole family.
Yeah.
And they even spoke and gave a speech.
Wow, that's
They
so
did.
awesome.
That was cool, man.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
I mean, to be able, like you said, to be able to connect with your kid through music when if that didn't exist for him before, you know what I'm
in your
saying?
teenage years
Yeah.
too, when you're trying to express yourself.
Yes.
And then your
That's
parents
huge.
get to listen to your music and kind of figure it out because you're not talking to your parents.
Exactly.
True.
So it's all, if they're writing from the heart, it's all there.
Yeah, and it's a huge confidence boost.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that Oren always talks about
Collaborative
is
skills too.
yeah.
the kids being so much more confident after recording their own songs, performing in front of people.
Yes.
It's like you said, getting real experience in the industry, doing those things. You're the ones pushing the buttons, turning the knobs.
Yes.
Invaluable.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like you said, with the confidence part, it's like, if I figure this out, I can figure such and such out, and it just keeps going.
100%.
Michael, give us some closing remarks, something that you just want to make sure the people know about this amazing charity.
It takes sacrifice and discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
To get to where we are now.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
And yourself?
Absolutely. I was going to say that.
The same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of an emotional thing for us because it really is a vision we had for so long.
Yes.
That, there's sleepless nights.
Yes. Yeah.
Barely scraping by.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The faith.
Yes.
Knowing that, knowing that this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
This is,
And
God. Why?
For the kids. Yeah.
Why I'm here.
Yeah.
This is, the mission, and the beautiful thing about that, too, is that when you're going through, like, we started small scale, and now we're expanding.
Exactly.
And we're trying, as we expand, to not dumb anything down, not lose
the quality.
The quality.
Yes, 100%.
Of
That's
our
everything.
program.
Quality. And that's driven from a place, obviously, you know, that we were talking about, where it was those lean times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It was that no one believed in us. You know,
that builds your character of the
Yeah.
business. You know, that's doing your reps.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
And then it kept growing, and that discipline was everything.
Yes.
And without the amazing support of friends and family,
Yes.
this guy, who is family,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, the board members, right?
Yes.
You know, everyone that put in and sacrificed so much time.
Yeah.
Because they believed in the mission.
Yes.
And then amazing, you know, partners and media outlets just like this one right here.
Yeah.
You know, where it's about, you know, the people in the community. And we're doing it. We are the community.
That's
So
right. That's right. Yeah.
It is, yeah, definitely. It was the faith.
Yeah.
It was the support.
Yeah.
And it was the love. But overall, you know what I'm saying, we were going to do it
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. It's your passion for the mission.
Yes.
That's what's
Yeah, I
up.
think money follows passion at the end of the day. I
Yeah.
think you can really see that, you know, in life. And I think Oren's passion to make music for the rest of his life was definitely a drive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what's great, that you're able to show these kids you did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can do it too.
Right.
If you
can do
Google
it too.
ODPGFA, all his music will come up. I mean,
Nice.
Oh,
yeah, he's definitely an artist that, you know, has put in the work, has had the experience, and is teaching these kids, you know, what it takes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then you listen to, you know, the songs that, you know, our students are coming out with now.
Yeah.
Blows my stuff.
Okay.
Blows
Okay.
the way, you know what
Well,
I
that's
mean?
how it's supposed to
That's
be.
how it's supposed
Yeah,
to
that's
be.
how it's supposed to be.
And so someday, you know, I would love to, you know, make music. I would love for my band Coast to Go, shout out, to
Right.
do well with the album release and all that great stuff, right? I love music. I have a passion for it. But the most beautiful thing ever will be to see the next generation do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where's the website?
www.mobilestudio.
Okay.
It's mobile-studio.
Okay.
.org.
Instagram, social media?
Yeah. Just if you Google Mobile Studio, nonprofit, or just Mobile Studio,
Yeah.
it'll come up.
It'll come
It's
up.
right at the
Yeah,
top. You know what I mean?
it's the number one.
Yeah,
one link for
we'll
sure.
be boosting
Okay.
up our social media. We got a whole team of interns coming in that's
Okay,
gonna help
that's
us
what's
do
up.
that.
Yeah.
Because I'm an old man now. You know,
Right. You gotta have that input.
Gotta have that
Yeah.
input. Gotta have that input. But yeah, mobilestudio.com.
And this is one of the shirts that's available?
Yeah, this is what we made last year.
Okay.
So
yeah.
PGFA
Yeah, big shout out to
is positive goals forever achieved, inspiring wealth, discipline, and leadership in everyday living. It's a lifestyle clothing brand that Oren and I, at the end of the day, really created with a couple other guys. And so anytime you buy something with this print on it, it gives 50% of the proceeds to the nonprofit.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I created years ago just to give back through the clothing company.
Nice.
For Oren to give to the kids, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
If I want to get that, but maybe in an embroidery, where would I go?
You would you go to pgfaclothing.com and
Right in Depot Town, too, right?
Yeah, right in Depot Town,
Yeah.
right here in Ypsilanti.
Yeah. We'll give you more information on that soon.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first. What's up, Ypsilanti? Go check out their website. Make sure you follow. I'm sure you'll see some of the images of this dope van and everything there. And we'll see you next time.